Little salamander will be with you whenever you write because he's actually a pen. Here's what we'll need to make him. First, we're going to start out with some oven-baked clay. We've used a brown for the pen or the branch, and then we've used 2 shades of blue, but you could choose whatever color you'd like because salamanders are very colorful. We have our clay tools. We have a pen where we're going to pull the center out, and you'll need adult supervision to do that, and you'll have to be careful that not all pens can go in the oven. The other thing we have are toothpicks, a little card, scissors, and a pencil, and if you have one, a pasta machine, or if not, just your rolling pin. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is pull our pen out, and you can use a plier to pull this out, and then this is a plastic casing. This one will be safe for the oven. The next thing I want to do is condition my clay. I have protected my work surface, and I'm using a pasta machine today. Now remember, this pasta machine is only for clay. It is not for food use. I'm going to take about 4 stripes off of a block of clay, and then I'm going to condition those in my hand. And to condition them, that means I'm going to warm them until they become nice and soft and pliable. Then to get that real fine or thin layer, I'm going to run it through the pasta machine, and you do that as many times as you need. As you can see, I've kind of worked on mine a little bit ahead of time. I want it about 1/4 of an inch thick. Then I've cut a little piece of cardstock, about 4 inches. I've measured the pen and the circumference around it. I'm going to lay that down as my pattern, take a toothpick, and run right along the edge here. And that'll give me my shape. Then I can take a cutting tool or a plastic knife or even a pair of scissors if you have one that are particularly that you use only for clay. And this is going to be my shape for around my pen. So I'm going to take my pen, I'm going to lay that inside, and I'm going to roll that up until the sides match. Clay is really nice and soft and pliable, and it's going to be a permanent clay baked right around there. I'll trim off any excess off the edge, and then kind of bring that one end where the pen is not going into, which is that top, and I'll bring that around the top and trim this edge off just a tiny bit. When I've got that perfect, then I'm going to take another little piece of the brown clay. You can see I've used a little bit darker brown clay here too. You can choose whatever color you'd like. I'm going to make a little log. I'm going to attach that onto the branch as a branch, blend that in, and then I can go back with my pencil while this is still wet and put the grain of the tree in. Now I'm going to set that aside. The next thing I want to do is to create my salamander. I've taken 2 strips of each of the colors. I'm conditioned them into balls, and then I've taken these 2 balls and worked them together until I get this marble effect. And the more you work together, the more the colors will blend, and I don't want them blended too much. I'm going to divide that up into about a 1-inch ball, maybe 1.5 inches, and then 4 smaller 1/2-inch balls. I have this nice grid underneath so I can see sides, and I've pinched off just a little piece of the blue and held that for 2 tinier balls. Now I'm going to create the body first by rolling that in between my hands. Remember, the heat of your hands is what's going to help spread that around. I'm going to make it fatter at one end, and then I'm going to take that end and curl it up into the tail. So what I'm doing is creating the body shape. Now when you're at home, you're going to take some time to make that really perfect and make it really look like your salamander. Then I'm going to create the head by creating a triangle shape, pressing that down, smoothing it with my hands, and I'm bringing it up. I'll flatten that down so you get that kind of almost like a crown effect there. There's the head. I'll work that in. The next thing I want to do is create his legs. And you can see here I've created a little bit of a reference card with my pieces. Now, every salamander looks different, so don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like mine. We're going to create his legs. Now that one is a little bit longer than I want. I'm going to squish that back up. Then you can do some research and figure out exactly what your salamander, how many toes he has. and indent that in with your toothpick. We'll create 4 legs. Then I'm going to go back with these little circles, place these on the top. Let's cut that one down just a little bit in size. He looks a little bit big. That's going to be his eyes. I can go in and draw a little design on those. Then when I'm all done, I'm going to perch him on top of my pen, wrap his legs around, and then I'm going to bake it in the oven by putting it on a clay tile, following the manufacturer's instructions, which are on the back of the packaging. It's at 230 degrees. This is going to take about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, if you look at my finished salamander, you can see I've added some texture. Now, if I added that texture on a real salamander, it would make him a reptile rather than an amphibian. And this is the salamander, who has smooth skin. But if you wanted to add texture, this has been done by using the pen tip to create little dots. And that's our salamander.